In recent months, I've been very concerned about the recent attacks on Asian Americans, which have been taking place all over the country. And in an attempt to do something about it, my wife, Agnes, and a good friend, and I have come up with a program called the Yellow Whistle. And Agnes can explain what this project is.
We came up with the idea of the Yellow Whistle campaign as a spontaneous grassroots people-to-people initiative to immediately get an instrument of self-protection and alarm into the hands of those who are the most vulnerable. Historically, Asians have been assaulted, harassed, even killed in American history. Unfortunately, in a post-COVID world, because of certain political realities, there is a tremendous surge of anti-Asian violence, further amplifying historical racism. The Yellow Whistle is a simple gadget. It's a simple idea. It starts out with a whistle. And we've attached the Yellow Whistle to a wristband because we thought that it is the easiest way to carry it with you, and that it has a slogan on the whistle that says, "We belong," which is how all Asian Americans feel, because this is also our country. Our website is www.theyellowwhistle.org.
We now live and work under the new normal, which I do not hope to endure for long. Nevertheless, it is a time to reflect, recharge, and prepare for us to get back to normal, when we could meet face to face, so that peoples of different cultural and ethnic backgrounds can understand each other more. The world is never a quiet place, and we could only do our best to talk honestly, share openly, and work together to make it a better world. Right now, we could only do that by e-technology, and I do hope we could come back to our normal operation when Asia Society may invite more overseas friends and artists to come and get to know Hong Kong, and my council could continue to help artists to travel to different parts of the world and share the Hong Kong culture. It is with the belief and trust that the Hong Kong people are a supportive, energetic population that we look positively to creating more equity, benefits, and chances to people of different backgrounds and conditions. I hope this message is carried through the diversity of the arts, and I wish everyone to open your heart to this.
I'm using one of Bruce Lee quote, "No one can hurt you unless you allow him to." I think violence brings more violence. We could confront racism in many fronts. Firstly, by using media to bring about positive Asian American story to the audience. Secondly, pushing for diversity in casting, in movies and television. Thirdly, more diverse story, narrative that show respect to different culture can be shown on social media. We have the tools and platform to highlight meaningful story to stream on social media. If we can start a movement to showcase story, even short story, the contribution and struggle that Asian American had gone through, that will be a starting point. It will take years to undo stereotype. We have to start now.
Today we're facing a very, very different environment, in some ways much better and in some ways worse. The better part is that there are many more opportunities to tell authentic stories with our voices. There are an incredible number of projects in the works that help shape the perceptions of Asians in a different light, in a much more variegated light. The bad news, of course, is that there's also a surge of anti-Asian racism and violence. This is incredibly disturbing, but what this is all amounts to, I believe, is a increase in activism and a building of coalition and strengthening our community and really taking into consideration any and all parts of our culture and who we are and not letting someone else write the narrative of who we are. There have been so many stereotypes over the years about what Asians are, and many different tropes, and they were often created not by us but by others. And these days I feel like we are able to tell our own stories, and for that I'm particularly grateful.
Racism and discrimination have always been part of human existence. The one way to be able to stop this is really provide an insight into another's philosophy, history, way of being, and the arts is perfectly poised in doing so. It allows you a perspective into their world and able to uncover all of the philosophies and histories and way of life that different communities bring and create the richness and the diversity which is important today. In 1980, UNESCO brought out the rights of the artist. That is an absolutely vital document for us to revisit and for all artists across the world to come and celebrate and demand that collectively we're able to work towards a better world. 10 years down, we should be able to come together to say that yes, we have collectively made a difference, that the arts and artisans and all of the creative economy has made a difference. And the arts makes a difference in so many different ways. It contributes to economies, it creates jobs, and most importantly, it defines our very being as humans. It creates empathy and love.